Welcome back, everyone. Well, the stacks are climbing and the numbers are thinning now at the VC Poker Cup semi-finals. Let's get straight back to the action.
And you can see from the leaderboard that Tony Bloom still has a substantial lead on table 2. 3 of the 5 left will go through to the final. Could see some action here. Pair of jacks for Tony, pair of queens for Thomas.
Well, this is a great situation for Thomas to be in.
3.5. Re-raise. 20 total. 20 is the total. Cost you 14,500. Re-raise.
Tony's not even considering the idea that he's behind here. But this is the beauty of having the chip lead in this tournament format, because Thomas knows that he's looking at going out. Very, very hard to put down queens, but he's thinking that he might be up against ace-king or a bigger pair. Tony knows that whatever happens, he can't go out of the tournament. But Thomas is looking at a situation where he could get himself in a position to win the whole thing if he wins this. And he's up against one of the most aggressive players in the game.
That's just bullying of the highest order, isn't it?
Well, it's tougher than it looks for Thomas, and Tony didn't know until this moment that he was up against such a big hand. But Tony still doesn't know whether he's in front or behind.
This is a tough laydown if I lay him down.
Thomas Gunderson with his heart on his sleeve.
Fold.
And he's folded. Where's that kryptonite when you need it?
Can you tell me what you had?
Same hand.
Did you? Come on.
It'll be on TV next month.
Psychological battle won by Tony Bloom.
It takes a special kind of person to make a good living out of poker, and one of the most successful players on the European circuit is John Cabbage, after what's been a long learning curve. We caught up with John before the day's play to find out how he came to dedicate his life to the highs and lows of poker.
It was my first time in a casino in London, and obviously I was quite young, and it was, you know, all the lights and everything, and there was a room that just looked like there was no casino game, so I went and had a look, and it was these funny sort of multicoloured poker tables which I'd never seen before. Liked what I saw and sat down and, you know, tried it out, and then went home and started to really think about the game and try and understand the rules of the game, and slowly but surely just started to go in once a week, twice a week, played £10 tournaments in the Vic, and carried on playing and playing and playing, and then the first major tournament that I played, which was the European Championships, which was a £500 buy-in at the Vic. I got lucky and won the tournament, which was £15,000 at the time. That was back in '95. It's quite amazing how many people it's happened to there, where it's like the old saying, you know, first-time player is the first-time winner. You know, it's like you always seem to get lucky the first time you play. A lot of people have suffered from it because they win their first tournament and then it gives you this illusion that you're a great player, which is exactly what happened to me. I just suddenly believed that I could play, and I was good at what I did. And very quickly, you know, I came back down to earth. You know, within 6 months, I think I was broke. And then I realised that I actually didn't know anything about the game. I stood up and looked at myself in the mirror and said, look, you know, you're not as good as you think you are. You've got to learn. About 4 years ago, I was sort of in a bad way. You know, it was a struggle. Basically turned it around with one win. You know, I had one tournament win, and I just said to my wife, I said, it's not the money here. I said, it's the confidence now it's going to give me. This winning this tournament is going to give me a real boost. Since the internet and the TV's gone really, you know, really positive, and I realised that if you're sensible and you've got a good head screwed on your shoulders, then potentially there's a good living there. You know, I go from city to city, if you like. You know, it's every month there's something going on, I'll be there. At the moment, America's 3 times a year, and, you know, Barcelona's twice a year. Paris and Amsterdam and Austria, it's like, that's it, you know, the whole year's taken up, you know, it's great.